What are some of the other challenges, ladies, that you've encountered that women entrepreneurs are facing that are not necessarily external? So now we're looking within the woman and try to understand what some of these challenges are that are preventing them from ideation, from moving from I could to I am. One of the things that has come up previously on Double O Direct are imposter syndrome. One of the things that I've encountered personally, even with women that I've approached to be guests on Double O Direct, is fear, and I'm not sure where the fear comes from, with regards to exposure and I am not ready. And yet these are the experts in the field. I have everybody from medical doctors to legal experts to designers who, I couldn't do any of what they do. And yet there's a fear in communicating their craft. I see you're nodding. Marianne, I see you're nodding your head. Have you had experience with that personally or amongst your clients?
Personally, yes.
Tell me about it. What were you afraid of?
Oh my goodness. I'm like, okay, in fact, when you sent the post and you say how to run a successful business in Kenya, I said, which successful business have you run, Marianne, that you're coming to talk about? So of course I've battled a lot of imposter syndrome.
Yes.
But I want to take you back a bit more about what you're asking about, what in women entrepreneurs keeps them back.
Yes.
And I think we as women like some stability, maybe some regular income and whatever, and entrepreneurship is nothing.
So we are risk averse. Are you saying as women we're risk averse?
We are risk averse. I believe. I mean, personally, I was like, let me first have something stable that I can count on before taking the plunge. But sometimes you have to just take the plunge and learn as you go along. So I think that's one of the things with the risk averse. Imposter syndrome, of course, is so much there. I was speaking at an event last week and I learned a new term that you have to sit on the table, because if you're not on the table, then you're on the menu and you will be eaten.
Oh, wow.
So, like Pat is saying, if you have an idea, just do it and execute it with excellence and do it consistently, and definitely you will succeed. I think that's what will be able to take over all the fears that are in.
What about yourself, Pat? Any personal stories with regards to fear?
Well, I've been in business 23 years, and it's only in the last 3 years that you've been hearing about Patricia. It took me 20 years to build courage enough to speak about.
Even after winning awards in Florida.
And I really think, I was just talking before we came in with one of the producers of one of the shows, and for me, the fear is just that trolling, man. Where you have people who don't even know you, who have an opinion about you, which is then taken as the gospel truth, and just it's difficult. Reputation is sometimes all we have, and seeing it being destroyed, seeing other people's reputations being destroyed, builds fear in us as entrepreneurs when it comes to telling our stories publicly. One of the biggest thing I think for women in business specifically is the regulator. And just saying, if I go and talk about my business, the next thing I know, they're going to be knocking on my door. So let me just, operate Chinyamaji where they'll never know what I'm doing, and live my life free. And so that becomes a real barrier, is the aggression with which regulators then follow small and medium-sized companies when it comes to paying our taxes, etc. So that's a real fear for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We've had the stories. I mean, I can tell you nearly all my friends, man, I'm just featured on True Love. The next thing, this is what happened. I'm featured on this publication on the newspaper. The next thing, this is what happened. And I saw it even when I was on the newspaper. If you go to your viewed, I had 29 regulators, people who work with the regulator, view my profile after an article had been featured
Your profile on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn. It's true.
Okay.
They do hound us.
Okay.
So that's a real fear.
Yes.
It's a real fear, because nobody wants to go through the effects of how it is to deal with them. It's really difficult, and it's a character building experience, and sometimes you don't want to go down that road.
Yes.
So I think for entrepreneurs, if I speak about entrepreneurs, that has been a real for me, it has been a step of courage to come and speak publicly about my businesses. But I also look at it in terms of how much more confidence do I give other women than to do it. I'm talking about, honestly, bar none of my friends, my close friends who are in business, who haven't gone through that experience, and few of us talk about it. So that also gave me the courage to speak when I realized I was not unique in my journey, and then the people on the other side of the table are actually human beings at the end of the day, and you will find somebody who reasons. So that has been the thing that has propelled me. But it's a fear, and you don't want to bring any attraction to yourself, to your family. We're not perfect beings, so there's always something that can be unearthed about you. And just having the courage for you to just say, you know what, hey, yes, and own I did that, but that doesn't negate the work that I'm doing and the good and the business that I'm running at the end of the day. Yeah.
How much is formal education with regards to that area of business a factor in success when it comes to operating that business? Now, I'm going to keep it very, very broad because I don't want to limit you with regards to your responses, but courses, certificates, a diploma, a training, what is it that you feel women entrepreneurs, financial literacy is very, very important. You already spoke about that. Financial literacy is very, very important. But are there other skills, and maybe you can get even more technical, that you need to be aware of? Because let's be honest, we don't live in a utopia. People want to swindle and cut corners and, tell you this is happening, but actually that is what's happening. And for me, dealing a lot with women in fashion, they tell me, fundis. I had to actually go get a sewing machine, learn, because they would let me down. So I needed to have myself as a backup. So with regards to your two areas of expertise, Pat and Marianne, right, what can you advise women in business with regards to acquiring extra skills?
Yeah, you want to go? So I think for me, we have to be constantly learning. I mean, Olivia, I'm sure you don't feel like you've reached the epitome of
I just hounded the guys of Alliance Française and I was like, guys, none of your online digital stuff in Afanya, right?
Exactly.
So I need to improve my French. I want to parler français avec l'autre personne. You know what I mean? The German is different, but yes, continuous learning is very important.
Continuous, and that's the same in business. We were just talking with my colleague outside and saying there's so many fantastic programs that are 100% free that we have to keep finding time to refresh.
Yes.
In Kayana, we have a program known as Passport to Business, which is just-in-time learning. It's a modular program where you can just pick one of the models, 1500 bob, learn. It's a tool that you use immediately into your business. So continuous learning in business, as in any craft, is something that one has to do continuously.
I want to try and find out more about this Passport to Business. It's 1,500 shillings. How long duration?
It's as long as it depends on now what you're using it for, the model you're using. So, for example, if you want to go back to market and confirm who your customers are, it has a research model. So you will do that as an entrepreneur. Find time. You have to go in, pick the data, and then basically synthesize it and be able to see if you're actually serving the market that you think you're serving. So it's really driven by the entrepreneur and their need in their business. So really, just in time, and we prompt you and we try to get you to finish them within like maybe 10 days, 15 days, etc. But really, it's up to you. One of the biggest problems we have, and I speak about this a lot when I'm asked to speak to entrepreneurs in workshops, is women are over-workshopped. 3 weeks ago, I went to a workshop.
Women are over-workshopped.
They are over-workshopped.
Okay.
We love that thing of sitting and in a workshop and learning a skill, etc. And I just did a random survey in how many women have gone to, this is their first workshop for an entrepreneur. This is a room of over 30, 40 women. Nobody put up their hands. And I said, okay, is this your third one? Is this your fifth one? And lo and behold, when we got to 9, hands going up, 10, 15, I'm just like, what is this? At what point are you taking the learnings from these workshops and actually implementing them into your business?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it becomes a real struggle between the balance between gaining the knowledge and actually implementing it into your business. In fact, I would even rather you did it the other way around. Start the business and then find the need where there's a knowledge gap for you to then look for courses that are specifically like that.
Yes.
Another thing I want to talk about, you talked about, just regardless of the caliber of entrepreneurs we're talking about. For me, I have done 2 entrepreneurial courses that have impacted my life tremendously. Both of them were free. Both of them were world class. I worked with consultants from the top big 5 companies that were given to me by these the trainings that I had done, and I went to the top business school in the US, Babson, as a result of these trainings. 100% free, offered online. You just apply. So one of the things that is saying the investment sometimes is not a monetary investment. It's an investment of you taking yourself as an entrepreneur serious enough to do these applications, for you to take the time, because some of them need you to be away from home. One of them, I was away from home for actually 4 weeks. And it will require you to make those sacrifices in order to upskill yourself. But then you're not going to keep doing it. Then when you're done, you go back and implement the things that you're learning within your business.
I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that.